Yeah, so I kept it brief at the beginning, but basically I graduated 6 years ago and I've been in over 6 positions since then, which means I was either promoted or I was looking for a new challenge every year on average. I started with an internship in a VC firm, a venture capital firm in Jacksonville. It was an internship. As I was leaving, I had the title of project manager, but aside from managing projects and different events for the startups, the entrepreneurs, I was also responsible for running the operations of the firm. It was fairly small. So I was helping the managing partner, like CEO, if you will, with all the activities. I was also responsible for building, maintaining partner relationships. And by that, I mean relationships with other entrepreneurial institutions and in Jacksonville, also universities. So like even like the dean of UNF was at our office at some point, as we had conversations how we can cooperate with the university to support entrepreneurs. Also working with bigger companies like Amazon, Microsoft, or IBM to create different deals to support the startups. So I really loved my job. I decided later on to move back to Poland because that's where I'm from. That's where my family is. But it was really difficult for me because the job I was doing was very exciting, meeting many different people, investors. Also, even I had the opportunity to speak a little Chinese, which I've learned as part of the Global ME program, as we had a Chinese investor one day coming to our office. So that was also exciting. But then I decided to move back to Poland, and I've met with a colleague from my cohort, Alexis Vigil, who was already mentioned. And back then, when I met with her for coffee, she said, "Hey, you know, this program that I did in Jacksonville, they will be having something similar with this company in Warsaw. Do you want to join?" So even before I started looking for jobs in Poland, I already kind of got an offer. I applied and got accepted. So basically, I was starting the job 4 days after I arrived in Poland. And it was a training program. So I was learning about the financial industry, different products that the company I work for, FIS, has. FIS is one of the Fortune 500 companies. It's headquartered in Jacksonville. So it's like I moved to Poland, but I'm still connected to Jacksonville through the company I work for. I started with the training program, learning about different products, went to one role. It was not challenging enough. So I decided to move on to another one. Also going to work for one product and then another. In one product, I was a team leader and my team member was in Jacksonville. Actually, all my clients were in the US. So it was like I was in Europe, I was in Poland, but I was working a lot on a daily basis with the States. But then different things happen, organization changes and so on. So I thought, okay, I need another position. I've already learned enough about this product. I need to go somewhere else. So I'm still same company, but I'm now in a different part of the organization. I'm in so-called professional services. I am project manager for implementation, upgrades, and some other projects that clients want to engage with us. But if that was not challenging enough, and I only moved to my role 8 months ago, but I constantly look for challenges. So when they announced a launch of a organization within FIS to support female growth, and they were asking for candidates to become chapter leads, I applied and I got selected. So I also become one of the chapter leads, global chapter leads, where I work with way senior women, different directors on initiatives to support female growth at FIS. And then there was a competition also for innovation at FIS. So I also volunteered because I had an idea. So I applied, took part in competition, and moved it to the next round, to the final, got noticed by the leadership team. And actually, a senior executive offered me an opportunity to join him and his team. It's currently for a period of 6 months for an opportunity to work with him on different strategic initiatives. So while I am PM, I have my clients and I lead the projects. On the side, I'm also working with the senior leadership team on the strategic initiatives. And part of it actually are follow-ups from the innovation competition, which was like a Shark Tank for the ideas at FIS. And Shark Tanks were my daily life back with the VC company. So it kind of ties together that I'm now working for a corporation, but a little with the startup spirit, working on some innovative ideas within the company while working on projects, the corporate usual, let's say, boring project with the clients. But to me, it's exciting because I'm learning about a new product and we have like hundreds of products at FIS. So I think those are the highlights of my path of the 6 years since I graduated. Thank you.